Just when I thought things could not get any worse at the worldwide leader in woke. Just when I thought ESPN's coverage of basketball couldn't get any more substandard. Just when I thought the hatred, the jealousy of Caitlin Clark couldn't be any more obvious. ESPN once again proves there is not an original thought at this network, and there's damn sure not a hint of original analysis at ESPN. This is the reason ESPN's credibility is in the pooper. This is one of the reasons that ESPN's influence is rapidly diminishing. For some reason, and I don't know why, but for some reason, when you have a platform, it comes with a certain level of influence. And with that influence comes responsibility. We are constantly being influenced, and oftentimes we don't even realize it. Every time you see a commercial, they're trying to influence you. Music is one of the most powerful forms of influence. Back in the 90s, Billboard magazine interviewed a brain specialist named Richard Pellegrino. He said, in 25 years of working with the human brain, I still can't affect someone's state of mind the way one simple song can. Now, you might be thinking, well, that is outrageous. There's no way a song can influence my mentality. I'm too strong for that. You want to see an example of how powerful music can be? Go look up Limp Bizkit's performance of Break Stuff at Woodstock 1999. Now, the song was short. The performance was less than 5 minutes. But watch it for yourself and see how Fred Durst had the power to influence 200,000 people with one voice. Now, even though ESPN's influence has diminished, that does not mean that their influence has disappeared. Like I said, when you have the power to influence, it comes with responsibility. For 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been ostracized by WNBA players. Have you guys noticed Paige Beckers does not deal with the same shit that Caitlin Clark has to deal with? I don't see Paige Beckers getting poked in the eye consistently. I don't see Paige Beckers being shoved from behind. I don't see WNBA players talking shit about Paige Beckers. Why? Because she isn't nearly as popular or influential as Caitlin Clark. And some of the disdain towards Caitlin Clark is some of it based on race. Probably so. But I think most of the hatred towards Caitlin Clark, I think most of it is rooted in jealousy. It's why WNBA players and their pretend friends in the mainstream media are constantly trying to diminish her. We saw another example of that just last week when pretend basketball players in the WNBA, they ranked the Rue from Waterloo as the 9th best guard in the league. Not the 9th best player, which would still be blasphemous. WNBA dump divers ranked Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard in the league. ESPN has the power to change that false narrative. ESPN has the platform to dispel that false notion. And how does the worldwide leader in woke choose to use that platform? They bite into the shit sandwich that WNBA players are serving. They prove they're incapable of originality. They validate the jealousy of WNBA players. They validate the hatred of Caitlin Clark by claiming that the Indiana Felines would be better off without her. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Yesterday on the second channel, talked about this mass exodus going on right now in the NBA. Billionaires are getting out of the business of basketball. And it's not just billionaires. The face of the NBA, Michael Jordan, He got out of the business of basketball. I explain why, so click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Also, and I forgot to do this the other day, with this being July 4th weekend, I wanted to thank all the men and women in our military for giving us the amazing life that we have here in America. Whether you agree with the decision or not, what our military accomplished a couple of weeks ago in Iran, it was nothing short of incredible. I hate that it's being politicized by both sides. Our military, they don't get the credit they deserve. I appreciate you guys sacrificing your time, your lives, so I have the freedom to come on here every day and talk shit about the WNBA. Thank you. Over the weekend, as normal people were preparing to celebrate July 4th, ESPN was busy polishing the turd. With it being a holiday weekend, most of the high-profile pretend analysts, they were given the weekend off so they could complain about America on Blue Sky. Of course, no one heard these complaints because no one is using that dump of an app. With the high-profile pretenders off work, ESPN had to utilize the B team to provide substandard coverage of the WNBA. Stanley was hosting SportsCenter, which was kind of surprising. I thought ESPN was shutting down their operation in Los Angeles and eliminating the woke welfare of Stanley V. Maybe they gave him a few weeks' notice. Maybe these are his final days polluting the airwaves. But either way, Stanley was hosting SportsCenter and he was discussing pretend basketball with someone named Carolyn Peck. Thursday night, the Indiana Felines were at home against the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces. Caitlin Clark was once again sidelined with a groin injury, so the Felines, they had to compete against AJ Wilson, who the media claims is the best player in the dump. Felines had to compete against the best without their best player. The Felines dominated the Anonymous Faces. They won by 26, and they held the Anonymous Faces to 54 points. $54 points. 54 points in the entire game. I know this is the WNBA. I know offense in this league is an endangered species, but 54 points? Really? How in the hell is that even possible? In my nephew's Little League baseball games, there are teams who score 54 runs. And you mean to tell me that a semi-professional basketball team can't score 54 or more than 54 points in the entire game? According to my inside sources, there is a logical explanation for this. Stage fright. According to my sources, the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces, they were thrown off their game by the size of the crowd in Indianapolis. The Anonymous Faces, they are used to playing in front of empty seats. They're not used to playing in front of a vibrant crowd who actually cares about the game. During SportsCenter, Stanley was talking to Carol about the Fever dominating the Anonymous Faces. There were plenty of potential talking points here. Carol could have praised Aaliyah Boston or Kel Mitchell for damn near scoring as many points as the entire roster of the Anonymous Faces. Natasha Howard had a double-double, but instead of focusing on the positive, Carol Peck decided to focus on the jealousy. Watch for yourself.
Fever been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row, a 25-point blowout of the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final, and then 27 against the Aces in this one. In both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done right now?
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball-dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot, so you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons.
What? Excuse me? Did I understand that correctly? Did she say the Indiana Felines are better without Caitlin Clark? Initially, I thought Carolyn Peck was another pretend basketball analyst at ESPN. As you guys know, there's an abundance of unqualified analysts at ESPN who were given their jobs based on diversity. Monica McDougal, Mina Kimes, the vast majority of the cast on Around the Horn, which has now been thankfully canceled. But Carolyn Peck is actually qualified. She won a national title at Purdue, coached 5 years at Florida, 3 years in the WNBA. So I'm struggling to understand how someone as qualified as Carolyn Peck believes that the Indiana Felines are better without Caitlin Clark, better without their best player. You know, I remember years ago, the media used to say the same thing about Kobe Bryant. Matter of fact, ESPN used to say the same thing about Kobe. The Lakers are better without Kobe. They play better team basketball. Their offensive rating is better. Their stats are better. And that's what really counts. Stats. Just ask Mina Kimes. Yeah, I don't give a shit about stats. You know what I care about? Wins. Championships. There might be a stretch in the regular season where you're statistically better without Kobe Bryant, but once you get to April, once you get into the playoffs, you're not better without Kobe. During the latter stages of his career, the media said the same thing about Drew Brees. The Saints are better without Drew Brees. Had Drew Brees lost his ability to throw the deep ball? Sure. But he still had the intangibles. He was still the leader of the team. Drew Brees still had the ability to make everyone around him better. And that's what your best player is supposed to do. That's the intangible that your best player has that no one else on the team is capable of doing. If the Felines are better without Caitlin Clark, how come they lost at home last night to the LA Sparkles? LA Sparkles are one of the worst teams in the league. And they haven't just lost to them once. The Felines have lost to the Sparkles twice without Caitlin Clark. Carolyn Peck is no dummy. She's a former coach. She knows the gravity that Caitlin Clark provides. She knows Caitlin Clark commands double and sometimes triple teams. Guess what happens when Caitlin Clark is doubled? Someone else is open. The Felines are 5-4 with Caitlin Clark, 5-5 without her. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Didn't Caitlin Clark carry this team to the playoffs last season? Before Caitlin Clark, Felines hadn't made the playoffs since 2016. How in the hell are they possibly better without her? Better question, how would the WNBA be better off without her? I don't understand why ESPN continues to butcher the cash cow. They do the same thing with the NBA. ESPN pays billions of dollars to broadcast the NBA, and they provide the absolute worst coverage of the league. For decades, they have been paying to be the exclusive home of pretend basketball. The Dump finally has a star that people want to watch. They finally have someone capable of generating interest. Broadcast rights for the WNBA are extremely cheap. ESPN is making millions of dollars off of this league right now. And what do they continue to do? They continue diminishing the only player that people care about. Give me your thoughts on this. Carolyn Peck claims that the Indiana Felines are better off without Caitlin Clark. Just sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.